It's Thursday, August 25th, 2022. Markets just closed about an hour ago. Absolutely fascinating. Markets across the board up. Dow Jones soars in the last 30 minutes, closes up above 300 points today. Now, what I find really fascinating here is this article. It's from Las Vegas, Channel 3 News, NBC. And it's titled Repossessions, Auto Repossessions Surge. Mark Zane, who is the owner of a repossession company in Nevada and president of the Nevada Association of Licensed Professionals, says that right now 15,000 automobiles a day are being repossessed. Let me repeat that. Now, this is Mark Zane, who is the president of the Nevada Association of Licensed Repossessors. There are 15,000 automobiles, cars, being repossessed each day in the U.S. And yet I'm watching one of these business channels today saying that the consumer is holding up during this recession. Some people still arguing that there is no recession. Whatever you want to believe is up to you. Are we in a recession? Are we not in a recession? Does it even matter at this point when you have 15,000 cars each day being repossessed? How is the consumer really holding up? And yesterday we talked about this. 20 million households in the U.S. cannot pay their utility bills. That's 1 in 6 households right here in the U.S. cannot pay their electricity bill. When it starts getting cold, that's going to start happening in a few months. What are these people going to do? But how strong is the consumer when you have 15,000 people a day losing their cars to a repossessor, and you have 1 in 6 households not able to pay their utility bills? This is startling, yet it's almost really insulting to your intelligence to watch the stock market go up and have these people on the television, these hosts and economists and analysts and etc., telling you and I that everything's okay, the economy is strong, the consumer is holding up. Some people still saying the consumer is strong, that the consumer is loaded with money. But apparently they don't have enough money to pay their utility bills or their auto payments. Now let's shift gears here for a minute. The president handed out a lot of money yesterday, in excess of $300 billion. What do you think? Is this the right move? Do you agree with this? Do you not agree with it? I don't look at things politically. I'm looking at things economically. And this to me is very inflationary for the U.S. And we are giving people who went and got a degree. We're giving people who got a degree $10,000. Now, over the lifespan of your working career, they say on average that the person with a degree will make $1.3 million more in their lifespan over their working career, as opposed to somebody that does not have a degree. Yet we're giving these people $10,000. How about doctors and lawyers who are going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, but right now maybe they're just starting out and they're making $75,000 or $100,000? They're entitled to this $10,000. Do you think that that's fair? Now remember, they're going to give this $10,000 to people who are making under $125,000 right now with student loan debt, under $250,000 combined income. So if you're a brand new lawyer and you're making $75,000, but maybe 5 years from now you're going to be making $250,000, you're getting this $10,000 rebate. It's unbelievable what is happening, and yet we have people sleeping in the streets. We have vets on the streets. We have people who paid off these debts. I know many people who are very upset. They went, paid for their degree. They had to get side hustles, part-time jobs. It took many, many years when they were established in their careers to pay this debt off. They didn't get any help. I think it's a real slap in the face. Let me know what you think about that. But it's astonishing what is happening. And we're looking at this article today. Mortgage applications fall to fresh 22-year low. Down. Mortgage applications are down 21% from a year ago. Refis are down 83%. You know, what I find disturbing is when you watch these business channels and these financial channels and you listen to these economists, nobody is preparing anybody for what is about to happen. They continue to tell us everything is okay, that the central bank is going to fix everything, your politicians will fix everything. Nobody is sounding the alarm. Nobody is telling you to prepare for what is about to happen. And it's happening every day in real time. It's playing out every day. You're watching it. You can see when you drive down the street the amount of for sale signs now popping up on houses, the vacancies at the office buildings, the vacancies of the old restaurants, the old retailers, the shopping malls. You can see it. Many of you have friends that have already lost their jobs. You may have spouses that have lost their jobs. You watching this video today may have already lost your job. People have written me over the last few weeks who have lost their jobs. And it's really a life changer. And many of these people, you know, they have good skill sets and they're going to adapt. But this is going to be a very, very difficult time for a lot of people who don't have skill sets, people who are just used to sitting in a cubicle, pressing a keyboard all day. They're going to have a very difficult time adjusting to what's about to happen socially and what's about to happen economically. So many people unprepared for what is happening right now, and they're going to wake up one day and they're not going to know what happened. They're not even going to know where they're at. Mortgage rates spike, hitting 2-month high. I checked today, they're down a little bit. It's about 5.5% for a 30-year. But this is going to make buying a home very, very challenging for so many people. Again, their wages are not keeping up with inflation. People are tapping into their savings. A lot of people had no savings to begin with to even tap into. Many people resorting to credit cards and just running up 8, 9, 10, 12 credit cards to stay afloat, to pay for the essentials, to pay for rent, to make payments, to pay for groceries, to put gas in the car, to pay for the car repairs, etc. And this is going to be very, very challenging now for the housing market, the home builders, anybody looking to sell their homes, people in the mortgage business. These mortgage lenders are going to be absolutely decimated. We're going to see a lot more layoffs. Does it even matter if the Fed hikes rates 50 or 75 basis points? This was an article in The Hedge today. No, it really doesn't, because whether we go 50 or 75 basis points, neither, it says here, are going to speed up or prevent the multiple train wrecks that are coming. There is really, I think, no way out for the Fed, and really for millions of people, there's no way out now. We're so far into this collapse, there's no way out. And I think about how could we ever get out of it when we don't manufacture or make things here in America, when we have an economy where 70% of the GDP is based on consumption, when we have a service sector economy, when we are so reliant on multiple countries for cheap goods and products and pharmaceuticals. 6 months to get a transformer here. Think about if grids went down, cyber attacks, if we needed transformers, where and how would we get them when right now it takes 6 months? And we're not stockpiling these things that we need to be stockpiling. We're vaporizing our strategic petroleum reserves right now. We are really, I think we are probably at the weakest point this country has ever been in. This is the weakest I've ever seen America, spiritually and financially and physically, where we have really over half the population is now obese in America. We have so many people addicted to pharmaceuticals, dependent on pharmaceuticals just to live day to day, the bad food, the obesity, and people now, just the laziness going on. We have a lot of people who don't want to work, and we still have a lot of people who do want to work, and they're not given the opportunity, they're not given real wages, and yet we still have a lot of people who don't want to go out and pay off their student loan debt when they go make $18 working at a McDonald's flipping burgers. But no, that's beneath them. They'd rather have you pay off this debt that is going to be over $300 billion now added to the federal debt. That's $2,085 per taxpayer. What do you think? This is not free. This doesn't just disappear. We're all going to pay for this. So if you're working and paying taxes, you will be paying $2,085 more into this debt over a certain number of years. Just really a disaster. Mad Max is coming. Bill Holter warns of dark times ahead. This was also on The Hedge. And he made a really, really good point reading this article. We have not gone through a Great Depression like our parents, if you have older parents or grandparents who went through it and lived through it and tell you the stories of how bad it was and how long it lasted. And Bill Holter brilliant guy, he makes a really good point here. How much adversity have we really seen in our lifetime? I can tell you, I haven't, and we've gotten really soft, myself included. We have not been pushed. We haven't had adversity. We haven't had Great Depressions or economic collapses or currency collapses or major war. We have not really been tested. And I think that we're going to see some very incredible events take place, and I think all of us are going to be tested to a degree. He went on to say that once nations don't need to buy oil with US dollars, those dollars are all coming back to the US, and we're going to see massive inflation. Think about where we're at today. So we're sending money over to Eastern Europe by the billions. We're bailing out student loan debt by the hundreds of billions. We're spending money like it's water. How in the world does anybody think that inflation is going to go away or that it's going to go down? I don't know. I don't know how anybody can come to that conclusion. Just reading the data and just seeing what's happening, you know that inflation is going to continue to get worse. And I don't need anybody to give me numbers. I can just go to the grocery store. You can write a rent check, make a mortgage payment, buy a house. You see inflation every day. Check out your auto insurance, health insurance. Everything is going up, and I don't think we're ever going to be returning to any sense of normal. The Fed is stuck, and the Fed will blow up the credit market, Mr. Holter says. World is moving away from the US, from the West, and it's joining the side of the BRIC nations. The world wants currencies backed by something. And we all know that more than likely at some point, that something is going to be gold, maybe silver, but it's going to be a hard, tangible asset. I do believe it will be gold. He goes on to say that hold some cash, but that things are going to be bankrupted, and you need to be in something that cannot be bankrupted. He said that when we get to the very end of this, cash is going to serve a purpose, but at the very end, when things really begin to accelerate, cash is going down with everything. Cash will be bankrupt. You need to have things that are not bankruptable. And he says that is gold and that is silver, and I agree 100%. So I think it's important to have cash. How long is cash going to exist? I don't know. But we do know that gold and silver is going to exist for thousands of more years. It's existed 5,000 years already. It's God's money. It's mentioned in the Bible hundreds of times, and it's mentioned in heaven because heaven has streets of gold. It's God's money. God has a liking to gold and silver. Now, I'm not saying to worship it. I'm not saying to live your life around gold and silver and money, but you need this as security, as life insurance, and make sure you can protect this stuff. Make sure you have food and water also. So a couple of good points by Bill Holder. And he also says that he does sell gold and silver, and he says that you're seeing more money flowing into gold and silver, and you're seeing bigger purchases of gold and silver. King World News, banks worried about monster $700 trillion derivatives market as credit tightens. There are so many threats out there, yet these people on these channels, on these shows, never want to warn you, never talk about the $700 trillion derivative market, never warn you about how things can go bankrupt, never warn you about all the zombie companies on Wall Street, don't warn you about what all these corporate buybacks and money printing are doing. They don't warn you about the pension crisis. They don't warn you about the debt crisis. They don't warn you about anything. They just tell you to keep buying and keep enjoying life and ignore any negative danger. It says here, GDP rises and falls, not driven by consumers, but by changes in the availability of bank credit. The world goes around with credit. Consumer behavior is not the source of recessions in consumer activity. It is the availability of the credit that drives it. You know and I know there is a lot of bad credit out there. Lots of zombie companies. And banks are going to tighten. And we're going to see a lot of these companies, big and small, fold, close up, done. We're going to see banks do the same thing, done. Too many companies, too many banks, overextended, made bad loans. And this is all going to dry up. And what happens then to this $700 trillion derivative market that has relied on all the easy money, on the manipulated stock market? I don't really have the answer to that. If you do, comment down below. But I think that this ends very, very bad. Here's another article. California DA admits 70% of suspects released on $0 bail committed new crimes. And I bring this article up because, I mean, I don't know where you live, but I would assume that you're probably seeing a surge in crime. We're seeing it across the nation. But here in California, it is going ballistic. You cannot even wear a nice watch in LA because you stand a chance of being robbed in broad daylight or pulled right out of your car. I've never seen anything like it. And even out here in the desert, we're seeing just a huge uptick in crime. So why do I bring this up? Well, these are the good times. These are the good times. For the most part, people are still eating. People are still driving around in their cars. I don't know, maybe a lot of these people won't have their cars much longer as the repossession companies are looking for them. People are still trying to spend, even if they have to do it on credit cards. People are really fighting this economy. They are reluctant to downsize. They're reluctant to lose their standard of living. They're reluctant to just give up anything. They're going to fight, try to keep that lifestyle, to keep fronting, to keep impressing. They're doing whatever they can to especially stay in the middle class, and many of them are going broke just trying to stay in the middle class. And as all this is happening, crime is surging. And I ask you this, please comment down below, but how bad does this look? We're letting our criminals in California out on $0 bail, and they're just reoffending. But what happens when people really begin to get hungry? When the cost of food is so expensive at the stores that people can't buy it, when the food banks run out of food because nobody's donating food or money to the food banks, we're going to continue to have droughts and all these crises in the farming industry, all the turkeys and chickens that have been euthanized, the amount of cattle we've seen die this year or now just being sold to processing plants because it's too expensive to feed them. So we know that somewhere down the road we are going to see some very extreme problems in food on the shelves and the affordability of food. And as inflation rises, people are able to buy less and less food. And so they're going to eat less, their kids are going to eat less. And so we're already seeing certain stores putting alarm devices on meat, alarm devices on spam. And this is happening right now. How bad can this get? When you have people right now just committing these types of crimes, very violent by the way, basically for fun and entertainment and laughs, what are these people capable of when they get angry and when they get hungry? I think that it could get really, really nasty out there because it's getting bad right now. And people can still get food. People still have places to sleep. People still have cars. People still have jobs. People still have the ability to go get a job. How bad does this get when the jobs begin to disappear, the food begins to disappear, hope disappears, law enforcement disappears? How bad can this get? And this is why I always say your number one asset is security. Don't rely on your cell phone. Don't rely on the police. Don't rely on a politician. Don't rely on an attorney. I know a lot of people go, well, if something happens to me, I'm just going to sue somebody. I'm going to sue that person. I have cameras at my house so I can film them. So you can film them robbing your house and committing crimes at your house in a ski mask. Good luck with that. And these people, oh, I'll just call my attorney and I'll sue them. Yeah, well, when they've taken the life of a family member, or you're now disabled, or you've gone through a shocking nightmare in your own home, and your assets have been taken, and your family's been hurt, good luck suing these people. These people don't care about going back to prison, okay? Many of them enjoy the prison life. And so they have no problem going back and seeing their friends. So you can get all the lawyers you want. You can call the police all you want. You can have all the cameras that you want. It's not going to help you unless you can take care of yourself. So many people making these videos too. Talk about security. Talk about security. Do they look like they know anything about security? No, they don't, because they don't know a damn thing about security. So if you have the means, go and get some training, get the right tool set, learn the right skills. This is something that you gotta have now. You have to have. This is something that you're gonna need today, tomorrow, next year, the year after. It's a skill set that you will have for the rest of your life. Pray to God you never need it, but again, it's another insurance policy, and I think it's money well spent. Make sure you have the right tools. Make sure you have the right training. Go and do that immediately. Things are going to get really, really bad here because the train is off the tracks. It's off the rails, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a lot of bad people out there, and they don't care about you. They don't care about your family, but they'll take your assets. They'll take your food, your water, your gold, your silver, and maybe even your life.